Welcome to Roadfly TV, your latest automotive fix from roadfly.com.
When the 2007 Lincoln Navigator L trawled into Roadfly's parking lot, we were struck at how audacious Lincoln is to produce such a vehicle. This shock was not due to its size or environmental footprint, both of which are, well, uniquely American, but to its appearance. This is truly a wild-looking truck. It might seem odd to begin a review with a discussion of a car's appearance, but style really is the big story with this all-new Navigator. Between the Navigator's massive headlights, there is a sea of gleaming metal. The grille has 56 slats in 16 sections stacked in 2 rows, and is crested by a chrome shield for the broad hood bulge. The entire chromed-out ensemble combines to form a huge blinding hexagon of extravagance. There's more chrome on the side view mirrors and on the door handles. There's also a chrome strip that fills the space between the truck's wheel wells. What's the big deal about a chrome strip, one might ask, remembering that Cadillac's new Escalade has one too? Well, the Navigator's is as thick as an oar. Rear-end treatment is equally wild. Textbook SUV design has traditionally called for tail lamps that extend on a vertical axis, but the Navigators extend horizontally towards the license plate holder, firmly establishing a connection between the Navigator and the rest of Lincoln's lineup. Today's sport utility vehicles, especially the luxury varieties, are the heirs to Detroit's legacy of flashy excess. Gargantuan proportions, acres of chrome, and big honking V8s. It's the 1950s all over again. However, an entirely different era came to mind when we climbed inside the Navigator L's massive cabin. This SUV from 2007 manages to channel the spirit of the Lincolns of the 1980s, and does so in a very unsubtle manner. This was a big risk for Lincoln, and whoever designed this new cabin deserves a big round of applause. It's a love it or hate it thing, no doubt about it, but we were head over heels. Every detail of the 07 Navigator's interior screams 1980s. Aside from the control dials, there isn't a rounded edge in sight. Everything is squared off, including the very retro double-hooded dash. The Navigator's gauges are part of this polarizing design motif. The current standard of 2 big circles with evenly laid out intervals has been discarded in favor of staggered numerical intervals clustered loosely around the needles. All of it is contained in a square, chrome-trimmed housing. The execution of every little detail, from the typeface of the gauges to the finish of the needles, falls perfectly in line with the rest of the car. This is the most consistent design aesthetic we have seen on the interior of a car in quite some time. Our Navigator's extended wheelbase paid lots of dividends where family was concerned. Our publisher's children are shown here on their absolute best behavior, taking advantage of the Navigator's ease of ingress and egress. Whether it's the second or third row, the Navigator L is definitely family friendly. True to Lincoln form, there is a ton of standard equipment. Our Navigator had a couple cool standard features that were especially welcome in an SUV of this size. There is a real honest-to-goodness independent climate control system for the rear, in addition to the dual zones up front. The Navigator also has standard power-deployed running boards, which are options on most of its competitors. And the rear windows swing open with the touch of a button for extra ventilation of the Navigator's substantial greenhouse. First of all, we know the Navigator is a truck, so we'll excuse things like its vague steering and brakes, as they are pretty much standard for full-size trucks and SUVs. Our tester stopped and turned just fine for a vehicle this big, but there wasn't a lot of feedback when doing it. However, this is not a sports car or even a crossover SUV, and its limits must be respected. On-center feel for the steering isn't spectacular, and small inputs require greater efforts than larger ones. Turning radius is excellent for a vehicle this large though, so we'd guess that's the trade-off for the on-center numbness. We'll take it. The Navigator's main competitor is the Cadillac Escalade. In terms of size, this long wheelbase Navigator L splits the difference between the regular Escalade and the 7,300-pound Escalade ESV pretty neatly. If you really need more space than your standard full-size SUV offers, we think this long wheelbase Navigator is a good balance. The Navigator does give up a little ground to the Escalade under the hood. As of now, the only engine choice is Ford's trusty 5.4-liter V8 that makes 300 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque. The Escalade's 6.2-liter unit makes 403 horsepower and 417 pound-feet of torque. 100 horsepower is a pretty big gap, but the Navigator's V8 is still lively and makes fun sounds above 4,000 RPM. The 6-speed automatic transmission in the Navigator L makes good use of these ponies, and we didn't think of it as being particularly slow considering that it weighs 6,200 pounds. Our Navigator L tester carried a base price of just over $51,000, a couple grand less than the starting price of a regular wheelbase Escalade. We got an Elite package for $4,400, which includes the premium appearance and entertainment packages. That will give you the excellent rear seat entertainment system, which is attractive and functional, folding down from the ceiling of the Navigator. Most importantly, you get Lincoln's excellent and easy-to-use navigation system, which pushes this package into the must-have category. Lincoln also threw in the Ultimate package, which was a bargain at $2 grand even. This gets you the moonroof, the power folding third row of seats, and a heating and cooling function for the front seats. You also get a power-operated liftgate, which can be operated from the key fob. This group of options made life in the Navigator much easier, and we don't know how we'd have done without them. Last on the list of upgrades are the Navigator's 20-inch chrome wheels. At $1,500 they're not exactly cheap, but they do complete the look. The chrome accent on the hood adds a measly $50, a no-brainer if there ever was one. When it was all said and done, our Navigator L topped out at $61,120. That's a good chunk of change, but it will buy you a loaded to the gills example of the most distinctive, most aesthetically daring full-size American SUV of all time.
Roadfly.com, the internet's best resource for buyers, sellers, and owners like you.